Hi, my name's Chuck McCall, and I'm in Phnom Penh, Cambodia, and I'm one of the founders of New Life Fellowship of Churches Cambodia, and I am nowadays one of the elders, along with several others of the New Life Fellowship of Churches Cambodia. My particular role is involved in helping to lead the church planting department. And so I'm in the comfort of my home in Phnom Penh right now, but I just returned from 3 days in a remote area with key Phnom Penh evangelists and church planters, part of our leadership team, and also key provincial coordinators that are overseeing the various regions where we have churches. And so we did go to a remote place for 3 days to spend time together, to seek God and discuss and to make plans for next year. One of the strengths of New Life Fellowship of Churches Cambodia is we really attempt to be strategic in how we use our energy, how we use our financial resources, how we use our supplies, and how we use our human resources. And so the group of us went away. We actually had to cross a little stream, and we stayed in a cabin, and we just spent 3 days of seeking God, and we evaluated our goals for this year, 2015, and ask ourselves, how are we doing? How are we progressing on these goals that we set last year at this time? And then we did a deeper evaluation of our strengths, of our weaknesses, of the opportunities that we have before us, and the obstacles that might hinder us from accomplishing what we feel that God is calling us to do. And so everybody chimed in, everybody gave their ideas and their perspective. And by the way, I was the only foreigner there. It was all Cambodian leaders. And so all of us shared what we saw and what our experiences were. And then we reaffirmed our 5-year vision. Basically, we've had a 5-year vision, but we reaffirmed it and we reevaluated it and we refined what our 5-year vision is, which involves planting 500 new congregations with the goal of touching every province in Cambodia. Right now we have 180 congregations. We grew 30 congregations just over the last year, and we're in 14 or 15 provinces in Cambodia. And then after that, then we discussed, so what are 3 goals that we believe that we need to do in order to fulfill our 5-year strategic plan during the coming year. So during 2016, what are 3 things that we need to focus on that will lead us to fulfilling our 5-year plan? And so we all discussed that, many ideas, big long list, and we whittled it down to 3 primary goals. I'll share those with you in a few moments. And then from there we established, so as a result of these 3 goals for 2016, that we believe will lead us to accomplish our 5-year plan, what are some priorities? What are our priorities that we have to focus on and try not to get distracted from? And so again, we had a big long discussion over several hours, and we came up with certain priorities for us to focus on during this next year, during 2016. And so we're excited. New Life Fellowship of Churches Cambodia in the church planting department. I just tell you that the harvest is ripe in Cambodia. It has been ripe for over 20 years, and we're excited to see what God has been doing and what God will do in the next several years in Cambodia. As I said, we're believing God to help us plant 500 viable congregations in every province in Cambodia, 500 new congregations in every province in Cambodia, and to see the Christian population of Cambodia increase from 2% to 10% in the next 10 years. That's what we're believing God for. And we'll be working amongst our fellowship of churches and other churches in Cambodia as well. I want to share with you the 3 goals that we have for 2016 for prayer purposes, so you can join us in prayer, and if you would care to send any resources our way, and I'll talk about what kind of resources we're talking about. And so one of the first goal is to provide resources to our pastors in region, key pastors whom we believe can multiply themselves and can equip and train other pastors. Our focus is leadership. Our strength is evangelism, discipleship, leadership training, and church planting. But we understand that we are only as strong as our leaders are. It is absolutely imperative for us to see that our leaders are healthy physically, emotionally, and spiritually, and they have the resources to do the work. I can just say it's been our experience that if Cambodian pastors and leaders have the resources and have the support to do the work, it will get done. And so that's what our first priority has been for many years and still is to provide resources. Those resources include training. We evaluated and came up with some very specific areas that our pastors are weak in. Actually, most Cambodian pastors are weak in certain areas. And so we will strategize during the next year on how we can make up for those weaknesses. How can we train them in the area of their weaknesses? We also will provide resources such as supplies. That might be transportation to get an evangelistic team out to where they need to go. It might be musical instruments. It will definitely be training resources, books that have been written in Cambodia for Cambodian churches and Cambodian leaders that we have translated, that we have written and that we have translated, and that we need to continue to publish and get out to all of our leaders. And so we will provide advice also, and we will partner in community development. We don't do a lot of community development personally. It's not one of our strengths, but we do dig wells and we do vegetable gardens and we do small income generation projects on a limited basis, primarily to our leaders. Because again, we believe if the leader and his family is healthy, then the church is going to have a greater chance of being healthy as well. And we will provide some finances, but we have no intention of providing salaries to pastors, and we have no intention of providing huge amounts of resources. But there are times where a little bit of finances are necessary to move things forward on a local basis. The second goal that we have for 2016 is to increase the capacity of our current leaders and to train new leaders. And we have three discipleship classes that we've been using for over 20 years. They were written in Cambodia for Cambodians with a Cambodian cultural perspective. Just recently, within the last year, we've rewritten those three books, and they're even more culturalized to Cambodia. And they're even better than what they used to be. And so the books are ready. They've been translated. They've been written. And they're ready to roll. And we just need the finances to print those. And we will ensure that every New Life Fellowship pastor is trained in how to use those books to make disciples, to get people truly saved, to make disciples, and to begin the process of training leaders. It's essential. It's just a major foundation to what has made us successful over the years of using these three books. They've been revised and they're ready. And so one of our goals is to ensure that every New Life Fellowship leader has been trained in how to use these books and has these books as their resource. We have been doing a school of leaders for many, many years, but this school of leaders in this next year will break out into our provincial regions. At this time, we have 6 provincial regions, and the school of leaders will break out and we will start doing regional training. So it will not be necessary for our leaders to travel from far, far away places all the way to Phnom Penh, but we will create a leadership training team, and they will go out, and we have specific lessons, specific materials, and strategy for our school of leaders. And then we'll also do specific training for new church planters in how to plant churches in their specific region, because different regions have different situations and we might use different methods. And we also will continue to develop our mentoring network that we have already established. The third goal is to plant new churches and to care for existing churches. Now, some of these kind of overlap, but there are specifics that make them different. We want to empower and resource our regional leadership team. As I said, we have 6 regions, and we have a leadership team for each one of those regions, and we have someone from our Phnom Penh staff that is on those regional leadership teams. Our goal is to equip those regional leadership teams to continue to do the work of the ministry. In other words, we're applying the 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 2 principle, where that which we have learned, we're passing on to the next level of leadership, and they will pass that on to the leaders within their region. And we will continue to develop our, as I said already, continue to develop our mentoring mindset. This mindset that I've just explained, will continue to develop that so that it permeates every leader. That which you have received, you pass it on to someone else. This has been one of our foundations for many, many years, but we're again just reestablishing it as a specific focus for next year. We have 3 2016 objectives. So what I've shared with you was our goals. Those are actually goals for the next 5 years. I'm sorry. What I've shared with you is goals for the next 5 years. And for our 2016 specific objectives, we have 3 objectives. 1, to plant 44 new churches, new congregations. We have an objective to train 100 new leaders in our regions. And we have an objective to train our leaders in the regional meetings to plant new churches according to the situation in their region, and to help pastors understand church growth principles on how to grow their cell group into a house church and how to grow their house church into what we call a mature church, and also to coordinate resources and to care for our pastors. And so you may not have been able to follow all of that, but it is in writing. And if you want it in writing, you can contact me, Chuck at NLFcambodia.org, or Jesse, the senior leader of the movement, Jesse at NLFcambodia.org, and we'd be happy to get this to you in printed form. We appreciate your partnership. We need your partnership. We need your prayers. We need intercessors throughout the world that will stand in the gap for what we believe that God wants to do in this very open country, to raise Christianity from 2% to 10% in the next 5 years. So please pray for us. Contact me again, and I can give you all of these items, and you can bring them to your local prayer group, and you can bring them to your local church and just stand in the gap and cry out to God to release His power in Cambodia so that we can do what we feel that God has called us to do in this area. We appreciate your visits, short-term teams and ministries that come to visit. Actually, our goal is to direct them, their sermons, their ministry, their activities into these goals and these plans that I've just mentioned, so that it's not just some haphazard team that is coming in and doing something, but what they do is actually building upon the vision and the goals and the strategies that we're trying to establish for the next several years. And we want to thank you for your finances. Those of you who are providing finances to missionaries like myself and Jesse and other missionaries that are here to stand in the gap and to fulfill their roles in New Life Fellowship of Churches. We so much appreciate your financial contributions. And I can tell you that every one of us could stand to have a little bit more financial support. And so if you're interested in supporting missionaries in Cambodia, I can give you a whole list of them that are very worthy of your support. And we thank you for supporting our church planting network and for supporting the dormitories and supporting the School of Leaders and all the many things, children at risk and New Transformed Life and all the many things that New Life Fellowship of Churches is doing to bring lasting change to this nation. And so may God bless you, and we hope to see you in the future. Please contact Jesse or I by email. Thank you.